It seems that one of the favoured sons of the Ultramarines, Cato Sicarius, is going to be getting a new Primaris model. Well, today I thought I'd just catch up with the last of the small teasers from the Warhammer Fest previews. Just a little aside that they touched on during the stream, but between the hints and the artwork, it does seem pretty much confirmed that Cato Sicarius will be getting a Primaris miniature later in the year. Cato Sicarius is a much-memed captain from the Ultramarine Second Company, perhaps with a bit of a reputation for being ruthlessly ambitious and a little bit over-impressed with himself, a reputation fairly heavily cemented by text-to-speech. To be honest, if there was ever a Space Marine in the lore that will be falling over himself to get to be a new, better Primaris version of his peers, then it likely would be this guy. The artwork comes from this bigger artwork piece that's associated with the Nephilim chapter approved book, basically that next season thing for Warhammer 40k. Looks like a bit of a stylized battle conclave led by Gilliman. There's a whole host of other Imperial figures around, including Cato Sicarius by Gilliman's side, and what also appears to be a bear in flak armour as well. I'm not sure if we'll get that one as a miniature, but I wouldn't exactly say no. Reading between the lines, that does imply that the Cato Sicarius miniature would likely be coming out sometime in that Nephilim season, which, if they do manage to stick to 6 months per one, will be somewhere between July and December. Looking at the picture itself, it is quite clearly a Primaris Marine, judging by the helmet. The headcrest certainly looks like the standard Cato Sicarius one that you can see on the miniature on the left, but they did specifically call it out on stream, saying, "Oh, is this a Primaris Cato Sicarius?" which kind of gives the game away a little bit. In this image, it looks like he's got some sort of cloak or robe draped over his right arm, and is holding a short sword in the left arm, though it is definitely possible that they could have him in a completely different pose when they actually release him. Lore-wise, it does kind of make sense for him to be around in the Indomitus Crusade, if they are going to be focusing the attention on this Nephilim sector where the Pariah Nexus is. Then it does kind of make sense to have the figures who were on the Indomitus Crusade present, so that'd be Gilliman and Cato Sicarius was on that crusade. I feel that it does make it really quite likely for this new Codex Space Marines to be coming out sometime in that window then. We've already heard quite a few rumours that the main Codex Space Marines is going to be redone, as are all the less divergent supplement books, things like Ultramarines, White Scars, Imperial Fists and the like. And when they released each of those last time, they did put out an individual character miniature for each one of those books. The Salamanders got Adrax Agatone, I believe the Ultramarines got Chief Librarian Togurius. So it's kind of possible that this guy could be the Ultramarines representation, and we might get a whole load of other ones for the other chapters. Maybe, say, a reimagined Lysander for the Imperial Fists, or perhaps Balkanestan made anew for the Salamanders. Currently in-game, Captain Sicarius' rules aren't particularly overwhelming. He is an 115-point unique captain for the Ultramarines, and in general it doesn't tend to get taken very much. His stat line's not particularly more impressive than the Primaris captain from Indomitus, with the Storm Shield to get the 2+ save, though I guess with Armour of Contempt having a 2+ save natively can be a little bit better now. Otherwise though, his main selling points are a plasma pistol that doesn't overheat, a mastercrafted power sword that has a small chance of dealing mortal wounds instead of its standard damage, and he can opt to give one core or character unit objective secured each turn, which I guess isn't the worst ability, but not quite as good as Rites of War. Getting a new model, I'm sure they'll take a second look at these. He is, at least by his own slightly trumped up lore, supposed to be one of the best combatants that the Ultramarines have to offer, and at the moment he's very much not that in any way. A new Ultramarines Codex would also be a decent chance to look at Rabute Gilliman's stat line as well. Again, I think he's a good example of a model that's been Codex creeped by all the craziness coming out in 9th edition, and I think he can feel a bit underwhelming on the table at the moment for someone who's supposed to be a demigod of war. So let me know what you think down in the comments below. Though I'm not 100% sure it's the biggest shock news ever that Games Workshop's releasing another Primaris Space Marine model for Ultramarines. In any case, if you've enjoyed the video, feel free to subscribe to Auspex Tactics, where I'll certainly keep any news of Games Workshop's news and releases coming. I do tend to post 40k videos most days. Finally, if you have been enjoying all the videos on the channel, I would just like to mention that Auspex Tactics does have a Patreon page, which you can find down in the video description. There's a few perks for supporting the channel, including seeing certain videos early, and entry to prize giveaways and things, so if you're interested in that, feel free to check it out. In any case, a massive thank you for listening, and I'll hope to see you guys next time.